to our booth, which is 3541 at NAMM 2020. Welcome to Academy of Tone number 39, and we're actually back home here in Saarbrücken.
Yeah.
We have no sunny California, and yeah, it's somehow a crazy thing to talk about NAMM. It's the first time in my whole entire life I'm not going to this show.
What was the last year when you didn't go to the NAMM show?
Well, probably 10 years ago. And before that, I was going there again 10 years. So I was just missing out 2 years, like but I've been there my whole entire life.
Yeah.
And, you know, going to NAMM, especially for me, the German, when we have winter, when it's cold, it's, you know, it feels like spring or summer, even in sunny California. That's something I miss. And so the pictures you've seen on this introduction video were the pictures from last year. And this is like a usual habit, you know, flying there, packing things up, doing the paperwork, getting there, setting up the booth, and then you're there. And now it's 2021, and we would have exactly the same booth like last year, because we would show AMP1 Mercury, we would show AMP1 Iridium Edition, our cabinets, and still the study of AMP1, since it's not really finished. We are further than we've been last year. We've done a few cosmetical changes, even that too, but you will see this pretty soon, because that will then be the final version.
Yeah.
I'm not about showing steps in between, because then the media is kind of covered with version A, B, C, and which was, you know, so there's the study from 2020, which was kind of the new decade, so everybody could read my thoughts, and then, yeah, you will see the final thing. That's the thing about MX.
Yeah, that's just one reason why it's such a shame that NAMM can't happen, because of course last year, 2020, that was when people got their first glimpse of what the AMP-X could be, and there was this idea in your head, and it was in this glass cabinet, and they couldn't touch it or play it, but they knew something big was coming.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people were waiting over the past 12 months for NAMM 2021, when there would be maybe a finished product there, but it's not.
It's not.
Sadly not going to happen, is it?
Yeah, but on the other hand, it's like, okay, it saves us the flight there, so we have more time back home to work on it. I look at everything positive way. Okay, but to be honest, it's such a hard time for the whole industry. How can other brands launch their products? And you know, it's a natural thing. You go to a show and you see the new products, and the YouTubers are there, and the press people are there, and everything is like it always been. And now it's like everything is different. And we know that NAMM has set up a virtual event as well, Believe in Music. And actually, I shot a little video when was it, 2 months ago or a month ago, when NAMM already knew that they will do a virtual event. And this will be shown this Friday, what is it, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 10:47 Central European time.
Exactly, yeah. So it's going to be, is it a clinic that you did with Number One Guitars or some kind of Q&A or something?
It is a nice gesture from the NAMM show itself, because they asked Germans how we feel going to the NAMM.
Yeah.
And I was at that time I was at Hamburg with Thomas Weilbier from Number One Music, and he's also kind of one of the guys that goes there for ages.
Yeah.
And we kind of reflected about what we think about NAMM and how it feels and what we experience with that.
Yeah.
So this is on their program at NAMM.
On Friday, okay. So yeah, for you guys who are not quite sure when it's going to be, I'll do a Facebook post before it goes live, hopefully with a direct link. So it's about 10:45 p.m. Central European time on Friday, if you want to see Thomas and some other nice German guys talking about their experiences at the NAMM show.
Yeah. So for you, how do we get, or how did you get any information about what's new in the industry? What's new on guitars, on amps? Officially, the NAMM show starts tomorrow or today with the website?
Well, officially, the Believe in Music Week started on Monday.
Right.
It runs Monday to Friday, whereas normally the NAMM show would run Thursday through Sunday. But the actual gear part of this week, I think, starts on Thursday and just runs Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
So on Monday, Tuesday, and I think on Wednesday as well, it's more about business meetings and networking
education
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's not quite clear to me yet, having been on the site, exactly how you make the most of it. But I think they're trying their best, and there are a lot of things to do and see, and it's just a case of getting used to it, I think. But yeah, for me, how I found out about products is the traditional ways, really. I think in the run-up to January, guitarists and music fans have always gone onto the usual sites and magazines that they go to try and find new gear, because it's traditional for companies to release it for the NAMM show. I actually thought that this year a lot of people would not bother. I thought they'd push on until the summer, because it's like, if there's no NAMM show, why do we need to release it now?
Yeah.
You know, because they'd lose the publicity. But actually it hasn't been like that, and a lot of the big companies have done quite a lot of new launches.
Yeah.
And so I've had to go online onto brand sites. I've gone onto my usual forums that I use.
Yeah.
I use one called The Fretboard, which is a UK-based one. Yeah. And I also go onto traditional publishing sites, Music Radar, Guitar World, sites like that, because press releases are always pushed out to them, and they always have kind of up-to-the-minute news about stuff. There's also a couple of YouTubers who get kind of behind-the-scenes things. If you're a Gibson fan, for example, there's an American guy called Trogley. I don't know if you know the name. Trogley's Guitar Show. I'm pretty sure by now he's like a bit of a Gibson insider, and he gets these leaked Gibson videos and is showing off the signature models that they're getting this year. So go on YouTube, just type in the keywords, type in NAMM 2021, and that's how you find product news.
Yeah. And for the Germans, there's the Musiker board, you know, and they also do the research for you. And then if you go to the Musiker board, you can find some background information about companies and new releases.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I have a few pictures here that show you my impressions about what's important at NAMM. So the first one is me and Jennifer Batten, which is the first one is our booth, of course. This is me and Jennifer Batten with the BluGuitar number 10 that she actually bought and is very happy. This was the moment we swapped guitars, and she liked it so much that she asked me if she can buy it, and I said, oh, we have so few of these, but for you, you can have it.
Was that the 2020 show?
Yeah.
Last year?
And, was it 2020 show? I think, yeah. And then next is Phil X. We all know Phil for his craziness and killer. And I mean, we go back years, you know, we had trade show, whatever, Titans in a way. I knew him from back in the days when he wasn't that famous, but he was always a killer guy. So, so much fun. Okay, then you bump into people like That Pedal Show, Dan and Mick from That Pedal Show. You know, a show is about meeting people, and yeah, it's killer. And they just had a nice, somebody sent me a little link about, in their Q&A of That Pedal Show, somebody asked, what's their favorite transistor amp? And they said, well, it's probably BluGuitar, which makes me happy.
link to that video if you guys want to see it on the BluGuitar Facebook page.
Yeah, and then there are some special events going on where you meet, where you sometimes get invited to play with other players. This is Porcelain Hill is a band from LA, and they're so cool. And we met at some event, and then of course somebody yells at, Thomas, you want to join in? And then I grab a guitar and we jam for a while. That's killer. And there's a nice picture of the big crowd from that place, and we had people like, maybe you can see in the audience, Trev Wilkinson is there, Rick Taylor from the Vintage. This was a vintage event. Now kind of a few brands gathered together, and at a nice local brewery in the evening after the show, chill out. I mean, it sucks so much energy the whole day at the show, playing, talking, and then in the evenings you even drink more and you meet other people and you jam, and then you are jet lagged.
Yeah, I mean, you have glamour with the NAMM show, but it's a really, really hard week of work as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why I relax after the NAMM always there too. But here's another great picture of Don Airey, who's the keyboard player in Deep Purple, with his brother Paul Airey, and we all go back decades, years, and stuff. And yeah, we're having a beer and lunch together. Yeah, and then
side story just for me on Don Airey, because I was thinking about that today. That's the loudest stage I've ever heard, is a Deep Purple sound check. Mm-hmm. We went with HK Audio to interview Ian Pace, and him and Don were just playing, the two of them. God, I have no idea how they're all not deaf.
Well, I mean, the reason is they played so many shows, their ears get deaf, and they feel great. It's just normal for them. Yeah, yeah. It's just we are too sensitive. Yeah, yeah. But these are the real deal rock stars, and they're nice people. I played with both of them, Ian and Don. And from the legend bands, to me, these are still having the full passion of the beginning of a rock musician. I mean, Ian, he even learned my songs. He played some of my tunes, and just for fun. It's a natural thing for him. It's like, yeah, if I do it properly. I'm a musician. I'm in for it. It's like, okay, wow, I was really impressed.
Yeah, and you can tell the genuine fans among those older players, because those are the guys that you also bump into at the NAMM show.
Yeah.
Like, you'll just see them walking around, and they'll just be right there in your face, and you'll be like, oh, I know you. Yeah. You're Paul Gilbert, or something like this.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And then there's another nice picture. I was invited to the LA Gun Club, which is like a pizzeria event where players come and meet. I think Karl Verheyen invited me, and then I met Joe Bonamassa, and he was so happy about his new 1960 Les Paul and blah blah blah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of thing. And then after the show, when the show actually is over and I stay there for another week, I set up like little dates. Sometimes are fixed, some of them is free, where I just meet people at the show and say, hey, I'm staying in LA for another week, are you free? And then, yeah, come and visit me. So one of these guys was Thomas Nordic, who is the tech of Steve Vai. And actually we've been to a show with Nuno Bettencourt and Steve Vai playing there. I was at Thomas Nordic's house, him showing me his most advanced setup for himself and his maestros, And then while being there and staying at my friend Gunnar's place, I did a podcast interview with Jude Gold, who is also an editor of Guitar Player magazine. Mm-hmm. And he has having No Guitar is Safe, his own podcast. Mm-hmm. And he did that one with me, I think, last year. And Jude will be on my live stream next week in return. So I already had a check-up, because next week we can actually talk about what we've seen at NAMM. We can talk products that have been released or virtually released, and I have him because he is an LA professional guitar player, Jefferson Starship, and others, killer player. Check him out. So that's on next week. And then I spent a day with Karl Verheyen at one of the NAMM shows at his private home. You know, it's because we met kind of as teachers here back in Germany for some master classes, and then we bumped into each other at NAMM, and then he said, hey, why don't you come to my place and have a coffee? And of course, he gave me the Karl Verheyen big time lesson. It's like, okay, you know, this thing here is like I mean, this guy is too good. You know, it's like chords, arpeggios, intervals, and his thinking. At least I could survive with my right hand. So, and then of course, when you're there, I was also visiting Norman's Rare Guitars just as a tourist, you know, smell some old guitars, and then of course there's some time to relax at Santa Monica, and actually we spent some time 2020 behind the scenes.
Yeah, it was a coincidental meeting, I would say.
Yeah.
After the show.
Yeah, and talking about coincidental meetings, is I was going to a beach. I forgot the name of the beach. With my friend Gunnar, who lives in LA for 15 years. He's originally from Hamburg, Germany, and doing some nice photo shoots with my guitar. And there was a guy at the other side of the beach. I wasn't prepared for anything, and this was the guy from Gear Gods,
Trey.
Yeah. Trey Xavier, and it's like, hey Thomas, and you know, he wasn't expecting me, I wasn't expecting him, and he just saw me because of my one shirt, and he saw me because of my Stratocaster. You know, so what is this guy doing? And this is where we set up an AMP1 Iridium test at the beach. You know, he asked me, how can we do it? I said, you know what? I got one in the trunk in the car. So I climbed up all the hill, all the way back, put it in a plastic bag, brought it down to him where he was with his friends and people drinking beer. He was just, you know, private chill out moment. Yeah. So, I mean, these happen in real world. And this is, sorry, it's not possible in the digital world, unfortunately. But yeah, this is how to describe it. It's there's nothing better than making real contact with real people. And of course, there is the COVID thing, and we all suffer from it in one way or the other. Hopefully not physically, but mentally, it's such a shitty situation too. And I'm so desperate for the next trade show again. I miss that.
Which one do you think is going to be the next one?
I'm hoping for Summer NAMM.
Oh, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
The end of July, that is, right?
Yeah.
So that's 6-7 months.
I mean, if this is on, I say a big prayer for that one. I think it's more likely that the Guitar Summit will be the next safe one.
Yeah.
Which is September usually, or is
I
it?
think it's the first week of October.
October
this year,
even.
a little bit later, yeah.
Yeah,
so
they're clever. They moved it to a safer spot.
Exactly, yeah. Are you thinking about AmpX release dates at all? Are you thinking, or maybe Summer NAMM, or maybe Guitar Summit, or
I think about all
maybe
these.
NAMM next year?
Yeah, but I think about all these release dates. But the thing is, it doesn't help it. I mean, I have my internal timeline, you know, that we set up with the team, and we know what to do, and then there's crappy things happening. At this moment, there's a codec manufacturer which makes the analog digital converters which we need for our effect, and the factory burned down. And it's not us, everybody in the industry is lacking those codecs. And this is, I just had a call with the Kemper guys and other people behind the scenes, and now even the whole automotive industry, needs these codecs, and the market is crazy.
Yeah.
We have to redesign the unit to get something that is available, that costs extra time. It doesn't help the whole timing. Stay with us here on the live stream. We keep you updated, and you will see it.
Yep, every week we'll be back. I got a question from Lex. He says,
Yeah.
I guess NAMM is more or less a reunion for the in crowd, which is kind of
Yeah.
right, I guess. Yeah, he never bothered about the show himself. I'd like to wait for real life reviews about products. So he didn't really miss NAMM this year. Just from my side though, in crowd is correct in a way, but it's also industry, and the whole industry is at that show. And from my side, a lot of what I do is work with artists and also media people and YouTubers.
Right.
And the NAMM show is the absolute perfect opportunity to get all those guys in the same room, or to meet Trey on a beach or whatever. And it's those coincidental meetings where you set up things in the real world for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So a big challenge for us this year is going to be talking to people digitally online and saying, hey, can we try and set this up? And it can take 100 emails to do something that you can do in 5 minutes on the NAMM booth.
Yeah.
So that for me is one very positive aspect of NAMM.
Yeah. Any more questions here?
Not yet specifically about the NAMM show, but I have questions about the AMP1 if you'd like to answer a few of those.
Okay, let's do that to get those out of the way.
I've been
because
collecting them.
we have a second part, guys, just for you guys. We talk about the history of metal tones with Manni in maybe. Okay, MX question.
Anyway, yes, AMP1 FAQ, the weekly questions. We have one from Svetlana who asks, will you be giving AMP1 to any YouTubers to review?
Sure. I mean, that's if you look at marketing these days, YouTubers is as important as any other media. And I see brands that give away their first prototypes to YouTubers, and nobody else has one. So you can see the kind of importance on that. The Cortex Euro DSP thing, I know there's like 6 units in the world, guys, and I know who's got them, all the YouTubers.
All the YouTubers. Now, I don't think like a traditional magazine has
Not
seen
even
them
those.
yet.
Yeah, so that's the answer to the YouTuber question.
Yeah.
And we are not exactly the same, but we are similar.
Yeah, and I don't think we've chosen anybody yet, have we? But I think there's plenty of names. If you guys have any suggestions, who would you like to see demo the AMP1? Leave that down in the comments and we'll think about it.
And then we talk to the guy.
And then we'll talk to the guys on the internet, not in person, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, excited to sort that out.
Cool.
Okay, the next question comes from Dario, who says, how would I set up a stereo rig with the AMP1? I want to have a stereo ping pong delay running to 2 separate speakers.
Yeah, so the effects are stereo in the AMP1, and there is a built-in mono power amp that will cater one guitar speaker, and there's a line out that gives you the other channel, and therefore you need another whatever power amp and cabinet, or a combo, or whatever your setup is. That's the way to do it. The AMP1 offers stereo, wet, dry, wet, dry, wet. I think it's like everything I could imagine. I wrote it in the manual. I think it's like 15 different cases of how to do it with any combination. Yeah. And stereo is an easy one. Line out, different power amp, and then there's the other channel.
Yeah. Yeah. Martin says, Ola England as a YouTuber. Yeah.
I mean, Ola is cool guy. Ola is Mr. Metal, and that's definitely one of the most important metal YouTubers. And he's a cool guy. I mean, I like him. He's straightforward, and he did a great review on the AMP1. And what was really exciting me is he gave this the award of the year.
Yeah, it was in his Gear of the Year awards,
Gear
like
of the
his
Year.
Amp of the Year, I think, as well.
Yeah. So I mean, and this he doesn't need to do that. I mean, if he does a review, he does a review, and then just out of nothing, he chose that as his favorite gear. of last year. Cool.
Yeah, which is a great sign. And of course, the AMP-X will have everything in this amp in it,
Yeah.
plus a bunch more for him to
Yeah.
chug on, right?
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, we got pedal questions as well. I
Yeah.
remember in the last shows that we did together, people were saying, oh, is it possible, is there a tube screamer
Yeah,
inside
yeah.
the AMP-X? We have more pedal questions there.
Yeah.
Can it do the Noble's ODR1 sound? Can it do the Timmy sound? Can it do the Klon Centaur sound?
Where's my ODR1?
I
It's
don't-
next room.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, I have one, so it will learn that sound.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that this will be in the very first release, but trust me, guys, there's a bunch of stuff here, and this is all what is stuff that we have on this list. I put this in a huge list, and I will work my way through it, and yeah, it will be possible. I'm not afraid of any of these pedals yet.
Very good. And the last one is a very interesting one. It's a guy called Mike who wrote to us on Facebook and said he's getting a custom cabinet built for himself for living room use, and he wants to integrate that with the AMP-X.
Okay.
So he wants to have the AMP-X being the same size as the
Yeah.
cabinet, so it all fits together. Can you share information about the dimensions of the AMP-X yet?
Okay.
Most importantly, the length and the width.
Yeah, okay, the width is 44, almost 43.5 or something. And what was the other? No, the height is, I don't know. The depth is about 25. It's very similar to an AMP1. Let me sort this out. I give this officially very soon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Mike wrote me on Facebook as well, so I'll answer you on there. as well directly,
Okay.
yeah.
And we should put that on our website as well.
Yeah.
Because that's clear.
Yeah.
But yeah, 43 point something.
Yeah, but that sounds like a pretty cool project. He's actually building or getting a custom cabinet built to house his AMP-X on top of it. I really like that idea.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to the pictures of that when it comes out. We're getting more YouTuber suggestions. Paul Schlachter says Henning Pauli, HP42.
Well,
Henning's always there, right? When there's a review to be done.
Henning is a no-brainer.
somewhere.
I mean, he already knocked on my door many times because I told him about the concept and he freaked out. It's like, man, wow. So yeah, Henning is on the list for sure.
Yeah.
And Johann Sägeborn, yeah, he's the guy who did a review on the Mercury edition.
Oh, he's reviewed it, has he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he did. And I mean, he's Mr. Marshall. He is the authentic, and sure, we can send Johann one of those. I think it's not that much news for him, but let's see, because he's more this traditional guy, and already AMP1 gave everything that he was aiming at, and he did the AB thing with his old plexis and cabinets, and was very impressed. So check out the AMP1 Mercury with him. Yeah, I put that on the list as well. So who else? Paul? Andertons, yeah.
Andertons, of course, yeah. It would be cool to get to them. Again, Andertons is a perfect person, Lee Anderton, or group of people to meet at the NAMM show. You always bump into them if you go out in the evenings and hit up some of the YouTube parties or something like that. Danish Pete and Lee are always there having a good time.
Yeah. And having a good time standing in the lines is like, you go to a coffee place at NAMM or whatever, and the guy behind you is Greg Koch and says, oh, you are 2 meters, whatever. This guy is so tall.
Yeah, he's very tall, isn't he? Yeah.
And then you turn around and you bump into, you never, the guy from Kiss, and then, I mean, being in the industry for so many years, it's like, everybody knows you, and it's cool. And this is international. You go to NAMM, you go to a different country, you go to America, California, and then there's all the people you know. And it's sunshine, and it's, yeah.
Yeah, it's super cool. I've done, I think, about 9 or 10 NAMM shows now, and I can't walk from one side of the room to the other without bumping into about 20 people who I know. So I can't imagine what it's like for you, having done it 30 years or whatever.
Yeah. But it's good. Okay, any more questions?
Yeah, Randy Smith says he's interested in Thomas himself demoing the AMP-X more than anyone else. Well, I imagine you're going to do a video on it, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely,
okay.
yeah.
Julian says Glenn should do a review. I guess that's Glenn Fricker, probably.
Absolutely, yeah. I only know one Glenn Glenn, and that's Glenn Fricker.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, definitely. Question about the AMP-X from Sven Becker. Will the expression pedal be attached to the AMP-X?
There is an option. We have actually two sockets, like quarter-inch sockets for expression pedals that can be assigned to be a wah-wah, to be master volume, or to be actually any function of the knobs. And they can be on our X wings, this kind of little slide things. Plates, yeah. That have a Rentelschraube, I don't know the English word, to fix them. So you can make different sizes. I mean, if you have one pedal just like that, two pedals like that, and then on each side, and this is where you could put your expression pedals.
Oh, so is it like an Allen key? So you just
Yeah.
tighten it up?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a cool idea.
Yeah.
Julian says Rabia Masad is a complete modern player and should get an AMP-X to review. Yeah, I mean,
Sure,
Rabia's videos are some of my favorites.
Sure. I mean,
again, going back to NAMM, that's where I met Rabia. We just randomly were at some booth. This was before he was famous, and it must have been 5 or 6 years ago, and we just got talking, and ever since then,
yeah,
we've done stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Rabea, I met him in Norway, and the funny thing is, like, he was taking pictures in a hotel, very stylish hotel, for the whatever Lavik guitar show. Cool, with Paul Gilbert and you know them all. It's very small but a super great. So, and he was important, taking pictures with his afro, and I could see it from my room window. And in my room, I was together with Jennifer Batten because we practiced what we played with the band in the evening. And then so Rabea was totally busy, so we both made like a little joke and standing by the window, pulling faces for the moment when he looks at us and he goes, I think he was shocked, you know, little things like that, you know. And this is what happened in the real life that could also happen at a trade show like the NAMM show.
Yeah.
This was like a smaller trade show in Norway, which was cool. Yeah, anyway.
You know, no matter how good the digital Believe in Music Week is going to be, you can't randomly bump into someone on a virtual chat room, can you? It just doesn't happen in the same way.
That's what we are missing. At least I'm really appreciating, you know, NAMM and also Guitar Summit to do something virtual, so they're trying their best to give an alternative versus doing nothing. So, I mean, we have to be realistic about it. It is a situation where they start from scratch. It's not like a system that works for decades and like the NAMM, the physical NAMM. So they have to come up with something from zero. And the whole thing, of course, is starting at this very low level.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the Guitar Summit is a good example of going from nothing to a fully fledged event in about 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
Because it was only in, I think, June last year when they said, okay, guys, we have to cancel the Guitar Summit, but we're going to do something online for you. And they got it up and running by October, right? When it happened.
And behind the scenes, I know that Stefan Killermann, who's the guy that was responsible, even had couldn't work for a week because he was sick. So everything was even more condensed. And what they achieved last minute, respect. I mean, still, it is not what we would like to see with better feedback numbers from everybody. But at least it was up and working. So at least that's the starting point. And I see this as an extension to the physical standard event, and which actually makes it possible to expand the event into the digital world, which means worldwide for people that can't travel. And this opens up the whole for other, you know, people as well. And it takes some time to grow. And so for me, I know it's at the starting point, it's not, it is not shockingly good at the beginning, but it's getting there. And at least they use the time now to do it, and then they can build it up and build it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we just lost the mic here. Sorry, guys. So we will be back with more metal in a few cases. But let's wrap this up. Is there any other really big question here?
There's a few more questions about AmpX. Do you want to take them now, or should we push that to next week?
Maybe do 3 now and then.
Yeah, okay, we do a couple now then.
Yeah.
What's the aspect of AmpX that you're the most excited about?
Okay, the most excited thing is it's the first all analog nanotube. Is part of the analog technology amp that is actually recreating all the nuances and not being just one sound on this planet. And this requires a whole new concept. I mean, I'm in the industry for decades and I've seen nice amplifier concepts, but they are based on a traditional design started by Leo Fender and from the books. And then everybody tweaked it a little bit here and there, but there is nothing groundbreaking new. The digital guys came up with modeling technology. I've done something on that side as well. And what I do now is something, I use my analog feel aspect as a player, also in the way how the layout is done. Mine is the most analog of all these programmable amps. And the key thing is it is as real as the real deal. And for me, this is like the summit, is this the peak, the pinnacle of my work. I can't think of anything higher than that. You know, after that, I will do other little projects with packaging and tweaking aspects of it. But like the speaker side, this is why we talk about dynamic IRs and stuff, because I have some ideas for that. But the foundation of the technology, nobody has that. And it's so fucking weird. If you look at how it's done, it's like, yeah, but it's a logical progression. And for you guys as the players, it will be a no compromise thing. You plug it in, you can switch it to versus any all tube amp or whatever, and there is nothing you will miss. And this is, it is just, the rest is just a matter of taste, but not a matter of quality anymore. And the versatility is there. Of course, there are limits. That's the thing. It comes also with analog technology. It's not I can, and it also comes with my analog mindset. For me, stuff has to be simplified. That's my philosophy. Maybe one day somebody might copy me, us, the team, and they take it to a crazier level, but I don't believe in that. This is my statement. Anyway, the technology behind it is groundbreaking new. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm so proud of.
Okay. So what happens if someone is doing a gig and they have this groundbreaking technology on the floor in front of them and some drunk punter spills a beer on it? Have you done the beer test?
Well,
that's a good question.
Yeah, I haven't done the beer test with the final version, but there's a flap that protects all the knobs that are responsible for like effects, for deeper editing. The other thing is the way it's designed. The knobs itself are recessed in like a carving, or what is it called, a recess area, and the beer. Let me do the beer test. Yeah, but I'm so positive that this design, by nature, is super durable. And if you look at an AMP1 by now. Mm-hmm. We have such a little failure rate. It's versus a tube amp. You know, I just had when I go to my other room and switch on the tube amp, it's like always, and the sockets and something is always not working. And these things simply work. And I want to do a few more tests with the AMP1s as well. We talked about a soccer test where somebody kicks it. By the way, if you are a killer soccer player, you can be in our video. Just give us a sign. You have to kick an AMP1, and I will play it before and afterwards to show you that this thing will survive.
Well, I'm down for doing that.
Are you a soccer player? I didn't know that.
Maybe I don't look like it, but I have a good history of being a football player, or soccer for Americans, yeah.
Okay.
I can kick.
Here we go. So, this was deal done. Okay.
There we go. We'll find someone else as well. Perhaps we can get a match started.
Yeah,
But
okay.
yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
When the weather is a bit better here in Germany, so wait for it. Yeah, so, yeah.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
We'll take one more question now, and this is not about AmpX, this is about your speaker collection. Dominic says you've promised a few times on Academy of Tone episodes to show off your big speaker collection that you've got here at BluGuitar HQ. When are you going to show that off?
It is more a question of cleaning the room and getting the piles of speakers into here. So next room is about the same size, and it's really packed with amps, guitars and speakers, tubes, rack gear and whatnot. And the speakers are on the back wall, hidden by all the amps and the other stuff that I have easier access to. So when I need a speaker, I have to dig in a bit deeper, get it out. It's a nice aspect. I can't promise you, but my speaker collection needs to be shown. I have a cabinet with a quick changing system for speakers, so kind of Krokodilklemmen, what's the English word?
Crocodile clips.
Ah, crocodile clips, okay.
Easy.
And Schnellspanner.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, whatever. It just slide in. So I can swap a speaker in 15 seconds.
Yeah.
So what we should do is then miking up that cabinet and make a video so we can actually hear the different speakers. Otherwise, I would just show you speakers and there's a 12-inch speaker and there's a 12-inch speaker and there's another 12-inch speaker and this is a 10-inch speaker and it's lousy. So that's boring. But to show you black bags, green bags from all the different years, and that would be great. The biggest problem is my room next door is not huge enough, so how to arrange it. I have to clean the room sometime this year.
Yeah, we'll work it out. There will be speaker stuff to come. I see one last quick question that I want to ask you before we switch up the second half. Will there be a gig bag that ships with the AmpX?
It will come with a like the black carry-on bag for AMP1, just a bigger, little bigger size to protect it. Here we got one, one of those, and of course it will be a bit larger. I decided to do that because the alternative would be just to have a plastic bag, and then no, this is cool. I like it, and we stick with everything. And then my sister was about to make me a leather one for my AMP1, so I can be, yeah. I'm still waiting for the prototype, but maybe on my next birthday or whatever, something crazy shows up.
Yeah, who knows? Custom bags for the AmpX.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm going to cut it off at that point because we have a second half of the show coming. I'm going to disappear.
Yeah.
Hooray, I hear you all say. But Manni Zewe is going to come on. He's going to play some metal sounds with the Iridium. He's going to go through some classic tones.
We have a few amps here. Just there's the Laney, there's some Marshalls here. And we go through historic metal tones, explain how they've been realized in traditional tube amps, and then of course I do my A/B thing and see how a Mercury or Iridium can replace that sounds. And we have a little video of me enjoying my time after NAMM in Santa Monica, which is me riding the push bike, which everybody knows that I love it, and it's so cool, riding into the sunset, and then all the artists along the sides is so cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
So I'll see you guys next week where we're going to do a full NAMM Show review.
Yeah.
So stick with us for that. Please send in the best gear that you see at the show so we can talk about that next week. Come back and spend some time with us there where Thomas will be playing some stuff as well. We'll do more AmpX questions. But that's it from me. Manny will be here in the seat next, and let's take away that little NAMM video.
Yeah. I mean, you can see this is, you know, that this is Santa Monica Beach, and there's this bike lane that goes like from all the ends. I don't know. It's a 40 minutes ride from one side to the other, which I enjoy a lot. And I actually have friends living on one of the side of the bike trail and friends living on the other side of the bike trail. And so I can have a coffee with them, with my friends up there and down there. And then, you know, when you look at the artists, there are some killer bands or musicians, you know, just standing on the side, and then there's this, what is it, skater things, skate park, you know, and you know, I mean, we're talking about those LA guys. They are really good. And then yeah, Venice Beach, yeah. And so, I mean, this bike trail connects Santa Monica, Venice Beach, and I don't know what the other beach is called. So you can go a very long ride, and yeah, that's what I enjoy a lot. And so, hopefully, 2022. Yeah, but they have a vaccine, so I'm positive. Especially when I look at this nice pictures, you know, this, you know, 20 degrees, and then here you see some people, they rehearse dancing in public, and it's so entertaining. It's so much fun. Yeah.
Making me sad.
Me too. But remember when we've been Huntington Beach? Where have we been?
We went to visit Sean Johnson.
Yeah.
We were at Laguna Niguel.
Ah, yeah.
Is that Laguna Beach, I guess?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and cool. So, yeah, we are changing over for Manni and the history of metal tones. And see you next week, same time?
Yep, same time, same place.
Same place. Cool. Manni, come in. We do it on the fly.
Oh, so they can still see me?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I thought there would be a professional video where like...
Who's professional?
Oh, okay, yeah.
We're just authentic.
Hey girls and boys, this is Manni from Godslave, and this is my rig using the BluGuitar AMP1 Iridium Edition. As you can see, this is quite a simplistic pedal board with not too many things on it. We use the Relay G30 wireless unit because we tend to run around a lot on stage. Then from there it goes straight into the Polytune tuner, into the guest slot, which is subject to change. Then I hit the WD7 wah pedal. Has a neat little feature in which you can turn it on by just putting a foot on it. It has a small timer which turns off the unit in a given amount of time. From then it's into this little compressor, which I just use for shits and giggles, basically. Just enhances the clean sound a little bit. And then it's straight into the input of the AMP1. I've got the TC Electronics Flashback 2 in the effects loop, and that's basically it. I use three simple presets, one of which is the clean channel you're hearing right now. Which is the clean channel of the AMP1 with the reverb engaged and the effects loop engaged for the flashback. Next on is the rhythm channel. which is the boost engaged on the modern channel, the effects loop disengaged, and from then it's off to the lead channel. Which has the reverb engaged, the boost engaged, and the effects loop. And that's basically it. A clean sound, a rhythm sound, a lead sound, and that's all you need.
Ready? Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Manni Zewe again, and there is a history of tone, and there's a history of metal tone.
It is.
Yeah, and you know, me, the classic rocker, remembers the days when Deep Purple started a thing, and they called this heavy metal music, but this wasn't actually heavy metal. This became kind of classic rock.
Yeah, I think the first mentioning of the term heavy metal was in. It was connected to Alice Cooper, actually.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, someone called it heavy metal and took it from there.
Mm-hmm. And we kind of started with something from the UK with Tony Iommi and Black Sabbath. So, what are your thoughts on kind of the birth from his tone or from his playing? I mean, we all know the story that he has the problem with the finger, that he cuts his fingers, and he had, you know, had to revisit his playing and come up with a unique style. But the music, I mean, Ozzy Osbourne and the band was heavy.
Yeah, Black Sabbath was basically the foundation
Yeah.
of everything that came afterwards,
Yeah.
and bore the name heavy metal.
And-
By tuning, just this, you can hear influences of that in stoner rock, stoner metal, doom metal, classic stuff. So sometimes you hear Black Sabbath mentioned as doom metal.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, it's just, they did the groundwork,
Yeah.
and everything
From
there
then
is
on,
history.
evolved. Yeah.
This-
Yeah. And okay, talking about the tones, we have that Laney behind us, which actually has been the set that Tony was using on the last tour.
Yeah,
And back in the days, I guess he was using this Rangemaster,
the classic, yes.
the classic. I had this on many times on this show, but we have his signature pedal, which is next to you. Yeah, can we show
Yeah,
that?
can we? May?
And a very short cable. So, but anyway, you are plugged into our switching system, and now you are plugged into the Laney. Let's jump it. Okay, can you play?
There it is.
So, and can you switch off the pedal? So this is the amp. This is a C-sharp drop tuning.
Yes, C sharp.
So it's kind of a standard tuning, but everything a minor third down.
Yes.
And so the amp is cranked, and if you hit it hard, it's overdriven. Yeah, I mean, it's a vintage amp design. It is a 100-watt amp that, you know, it's driven very hard, and then the front end is pushed with this Laney pedal, which
playing a piece of history. It's awesome.
I mean, this guitar is 1971, I think.
Yeah.
It's not an SG. Iommi was playing an SG with some weird pickups. Do you know?
Might be.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. So this is one of my guitars out of my collection that goes kind of in that direction. I chose the Les Paul because I don't have an SG. And I chose the mini humbuckers because they are a little lighter in sound, a bit brighter.
Yes.
Versus a Les Paul, and that kind of is a bit more in the ballpark of an SG. It's not correct, but at least we are getting close.
Actually, a musician friend of my father played Les Paul Deluxe for country music. That's
how bright it can be. No?
The first Les Paul I actually ever saw might be his.
Cool.
So yeah.
Yeah. So this is now the sound with the Laney, and we tried a little bit up front. I simply switched to the AMP1. So starting with the Laney, and then I switched to the AMP1 Mercury Edition.
Okay. That's pretty close.
Yeah, and this is now just for the guys that want to get in this kind of same sound here. I started with the classic channel. The tone was all the way down. Yeah, all the way down. And I used, what is the setting here? 3 on the bass, 8 to 9 on the mids, and 4 to 5 on the treble. And I engaged the boost because we have a boost pedal on the other side as well. When I started, I didn't have the boost, and I think the boost actually does help. And this boost, of course, is not the same boost like the beautiful Laney, Tony, Iommi signature boost, but having a boost to me makes it a little bit more.
Yeah, it's a really, really deep and dirty tone.
Yeah.
It's for classic tones like this, you don't actually need much definition.
Yeah.
Because it lives off this growl, you know.
Yeah. It's fun,
just
huh?
fun, yes.
Yeah. Hey, can I have the guitar for a second?
Yes,
I need
of course,
to.
of course.
I need to try if I could be a metal guy as well, just for.
thing suits you pretty well.
In my next life. Yeah, but it's inspiring. Once you have that kind of, I usually have standard tuning on that guitar, of course, and now with the drop C sharp tuning and that kind of tone, it makes you feel different and it makes you play different. Super cool. So for me, let's tear this setup apart. Can you give me the pedal, please? Just unplug it so we can show it a little bit more and see what's going on there. Black Country Customs, Tony Iommi signature pedal, drive, volume, low, high, and the mids all the way up. And yeah, this would also make a nice match with the AMP1, but it's sounds cool.
It's the thing the Laney needs.
Yeah, and it has an attitude. To me, this is like a statement. It's like, this sound is growl.
Yeah. You mentioned the NAMM show. I was at Guitar Summit the last one.
Yeah.
There's a pretty big boom in vintage or fuzz pedals.
Right.
I look at it that way, and you see new stoner bands, sludge bands, and shit coming up, who always use this fuzzy distortion.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big thing right at the moment. I'm listening to a band called Visigoth. They make they call it epic heavy metal.
Okay.
But they play like, I don't know, some vintage gear, and there's the guitar production on the last album is not to mention nothing you would want to do with the Iridium, but it's got that character, the vintage character, and that's something very beautiful.
Yeah.
There's a big boom in epic old school heavy metal right now. There's a lot of bands who did stuff, lots of underground heavy metal bands did in the early 80s.
Right.
Like sounds like homemade production, but
Yeah.
it's got a certain character to it.
Yeah, cool. Talking about character, there's the other pedal, the red pedal.
The red.
And take the power supply with it, because this is my original vintage red pedal that I bought when I was a teenager. And it needs to have this special fucking plug that nobody has these days anymore. And the red also is like a pedal. It's actually like I would call it a civilized fuzz. I mean, if you go back for the real old school fuzzes, they are all over the place. The Hendrix kind of thing is like, it's muddy like hell and it burns or whatever. And
sounds destroyed.
Yeah, destroyed. Yeah, and the red was kind of a rich, also growly, and this was a high gain pedal at the time. This is at least the way I experienced that, and I was impressed. And when I kind of tried to make it alive again last night for this episode, I rediscovered it. The only thing for me as the guy that wants to clean up the guitar doesn't do this the way I want it. But the character of the pedal itself, I thought, there's nothing wrong about it. This has also some great.
The red actually is part of the sound of Metallica's debut album, Kill 'Em All.
Mm-hmm.
Was a red into an 59 Super Lead Deluxe.
Yeah, Marshall,
something this. Something.
Cool.
Yeah, and they always complain about if we would make the album again, would sound different because we didn't like the sound. It sounded like shit. But actually, I liked the Kill 'Em All sound because it was really, really raw.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what the early Metallica stuff needed. Then on the next album, they went with Mesa Boogie amps.
Totally different style.
Totally, yeah, more civilized.
Yeah, and I mean, part of metal music in general for me is an attitude thing and an energy thing, and if the ingredients are raw, the music is
Yes.
raw. I mean,
Metal doesn't need to be pretty. That's
by nature.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's an ugly music. It's an aggressive music, and it's powerful, driven stuff. There's no need for
Right.
depending on
Yeah.
the genre you're doing. Because I don't know, someone's
Okay.
gonna want to behead me for saying, yeah, we don't need to produce good metal sounds. No, depends on the genre. But
Yeah.
the really old schooly stuff isn't all that pretty production wise, because it was just
Raw and
raw
authentic.
energy.
Yeah. What's the next tone we can do?
What should we do? Should we try?
Which one? Shall we use my modified Marshall versus the Iridium, or what? Or is there anything we can do with the red pedal?
We can try to get the Kill 'Em All sound.
Okay, let's try that.
No, wait a minute.
So we need, and this would go with which Marshall? With my with my 800 style, or with a standard plexi? Didn't they? You said they tried a
Super lead.
Hey, this I take the middle one, which
Okay.
is a Super PA. It is not as bright as the Super Lead, but it could do the job. Let's see. And we need the red, right?
Yes, we need.
We need power for that too. Oh man, well prepared. Do everything in public. So improvisation. Do we have some extra power down there? Let me try here. It should say amp power, yes, because otherwise we kill our setup. Come on, baby. Power outlet sucks. Jawohl. Okay, got it. Next is switch off the Laney, unplug the speaker, and trying. Got it.
Trying to work out the wiring, but I don't think I get it just yet.
So
Wait a minute.
I try the input number 2 into the output of the red, and then we go.
Something.
Yeah, where's the one with the red cable here? This one. This one goes into here, and then surprise, surprise. Let's see if we have signal on the external amp B. We need volume.
Yeah.
No, we have not.
It's a bit too dirty.
Too dirty?
Too dirty. Yeah, it's about right.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
I have a go on the Mercury just for fun.
Okay.
Blah, blah, blah. Of course, we need overdrive, no boost, or maybe boost. I don't know. This is a bit more polished. Just for the guys to know, it's the vintage channel. The boost is all the way up now. Maybe it's too much, but who cares? And it's where are we? Bass on 4, mids on 6, treble on 5.5, something like that. It's not the same thing, but it's
Gets you pretty close. Close enough.
yeah. Okay, some vintage metal tones from the vintage channel of the Mercury edition. With a red pedal, which is kind of everything more in the middle. I see.
No, it's a distortion about 11 o'clock,
Yeah.
filter right in the middle, and volume at about 10.
Yeah, yeah, and that pedal goes into my good old 1967 GTM Black Flag non-modified channel. Cranked. So old school.
You know why they didn't use the same Marshall on the second record?
No.
Because it was stolen from their U-Haul.
Yeah.
Sad story. It was a modded Marshall.
Yeah.
And they were traveling, touring,
Yeah.
using a U-Haul, I guess, I believe. Yeah, and the thing just got stolen along with some of the guitars, and pretty tragic story. But I hear it inspired one of the first Metallica ballads.
I give you some reverb for that. Okay.
There was a time when I could play this, but it was about 20 years ago or something.
Sure.
You unlearn stuff. It's unbelievable.
Same, by the way, with me too. Sometimes I even forget my own songs. I mean, they come back pretty fast because there's kind of a muscle memory.
Yeah.
But sometimes I go like, man, what did I play?
Yeah, I'm looking forward for the upcoming Godslave rehearsals, if and when, and we're all gonna stand there like, what the fuck?
I'm also afraid.
I know it.
I'm also afraid for my next live shows because my band Rock Anarchy lives out of being a spontaneous project where we go on stage and we use classic songs and we jam, but without having any routine. It's like, huh? I mean, this will be funny. I'm so curious to know if it will suck or if it will be totally fresh because my brain is kind of wiped clean.
Knowing you, it would probably be passable.
Maybe not. We will see. So, all exciting. So, what else do we have on the list? Another metal tone?
Yeah, of a album released in 85, 86,
Mm-hmm.
by a band called Slayer.
Slayer, okay. They had a very intense biography. I heard about the stories with burritos and sexual. I don't know.
So you know more than me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, these were the glory days of rock stars.
Yeah, back in the early days, they used makeup like
yeah.
I don't know, not like 80s hair metal makeup, but like around the eyes and shit and artificial blood and stuff.
Yeah.
But they grew out of that rather quick, and then they produced and wrote the gold standard in thrash metal, which is their Rain and Blood album.
And you personally are a thrash metal player. What is Godslave the band? What kind of style is that?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not an expert. I'm just
I
to learn.
think Godslave leans more towards the I don't know, bands like Destruction, maybe a bit of Overkill, Testament, and Exodus.
Mm-hmm. And what is the genre?
Mixture of German thrash metal and Bay Area thrash metal. Back in the old days, since I'm part of the band, it leans more in a melodic kind of way, and I actually haven't heard, not to boast myself or something, but I haven't heard a thrash band sounding quite like Godslave.
Okay, yeah. So guys, if you want to hear something unique, check out the Godslave.
Or if you want to hear watered down thrash metal influenced with power metal and pussy stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. So what is the sound?
The sound was an
GSM
800.
Yeah.
A tube screamer.
A tube screamer.
Tube screamer, and they somewhere in the chain used an EQ pedal.
Okay, nobody knows.
But where in the chain?
We don't know.
Maybe if I looked at the second page of Google, I might have found it.
Yeah. Okay. I tried to create that sound with my modified Marshall, which is actually kind of the tightest one of my Marshalls because I'm the vintage guy. Mm-hmm. And this amp is based on the 800, but it is a bit more flexible. So I have a switchable low cut, like on the precision drive of Horizon devices, and it's not in the shelf. Who cares?
It is fourth from above.
Ah yeah, I see it. Okay. Okay. Here, guys. This is my cable. This is the Horizon device precision drive, and this pedal has this nice attack feature where you can switch between the low cut frequencies, and that tightens up your lower end. The other feature on that pedal is it was based on a tube screamer. It has the drive and it has a built-in gate. I mean, metal is also about gate, so this pedal is a killer metal pedal since it combines all the typical ingredients, which is the tube screamer mid-hump, which is the gate, and then the low cut, the perfect low cut. And my Marshall that I had modded 20 years ago had already that low cut, because I knew about tighten up sounds even back in the days when I played some studio gigs. And of course I never played metal in that way, but I had to deliver sounds that were not muddy at all. So this amp was modified to be cutting, tight, and not as warm and polite like my other Marshalls. And so what I'm saying here is, like, this is all cooking recipes that are old, and now they are just combined into new products.
Yeah.
For me, it's nothing new. It's just to see how people use it and how to combine it and what new kind of music is being created with these tools. That's the interesting part to me.
If you look at the, pardon me, if you look at the shift from the Laney sounds and the old fuzzy classic doom heavy metal tones of Black Sabbath to this one right here, it's a rather drastic change, more gain, but more defined gain, less low, more mids and highs, and that's the direction the sound was going through the 80s. Then the 90s came about with the old school death metal stuff where they put, I don't know, HM2 pedals into bass amps and shit. And then you had a really fat,
low,
darkly.
Darkly is good. A
dark, ugly sound. He dropped it. And from then you had bands like In Flames, who were part of the Swedish melodic death metal scene, which they started using this classic heavy metal tone of 5150, pushed with a tube screamer and recorded using 2 microphones, one on axis, the Fredman technique. And that's actually this In Flames sound was what influenced the early 2000s metalcore movement, and that's where you come with the precision drive. The precision drive and the classic, the modern metal tones used today basically date back to this early 90s melodic death metal sound, and made it a bit cleaner, a bit more mix ready, I would say.
A bit more focused in the mix, so it really is in your face.
When you had the old school death metal stuff, it was all about building a wall of sound and really moving air. And this is more like, okay, you need to have a extremely defined bass drum, and somewhere there has to be an extremely defined bass. And then you have the guitars playing extremely deep notes, so you can't have too much low end, but you want to have this timbre of the
low
guitar notes. Where this, the ingredients don't change. Just the recipes, as you said.
That's the same. Okay, let's try to make that setup. So I will plug in my Marshall here. So I switch off the GTM. Be safe. Switch to speaker cabinet. Wait a minute. We get rid of the red pedal.
Are you okay?
I'm still alive.
Still alive. Okay.
So let's see if this makes some noise. So
is it the right one?
See, this is switch off the. Huh? Oh, we're not.
Okay.
So. Yeah, this is the Marshall. Okay, and it's also
also a bit noisy.
Yeah, because this amp has so much high end, and also the presence is up. Maybe I have a little bit less presence. Yeah, still. Who gives a damn? Okay, we have the problem about our switching system here is always when you have a lot of high end and a lot of gain and a lot of volume, and this is all we have here. It's getting critical. So, why is that? Because the high frequency from the guitar is fed back to this, is amplified so many times for the high gain, blah, blah, blah. And then there's a direct coupling to the speaker out. And our switching system here is a better one, but it's probably not the best one. Maybe we have I will try to buy an Ampede soon. Anyway, so we have to try to live with it in a way, dial in the tones. So here is, we need a tube screamer as well, right?
Yes.
So the classic setting on the tube screamer, everybody is not much overdrive or no overdrive, and then a bit boost, and the rest is the natural mid hump and dial in the tone wherever you feel you need it.
Right.
Yeah, so. Cool. Yeah. So to understand what's important here is for this kind of speed picking, or what is it called? Is there
It's a tremolo picking.
tremolo picking? Okay. I mean, I know this. You know, you need to have a tight low end, otherwise it's all muddy, and the low end kind of does a rumble, boom, boom.
Yeah, you said it once. The tone is too slow.
Yeah. So how to fasten the tone, tighten up the low end. This is a thing that the tube screamer does, and that's also my modded Marshall is good at, because I can get rid of the ultra lows that kind of makes the amp slow, which is great for playing blues, you know, because then you have these huge notes that can ring forever and bloom, and all the energy, the low end kind of loads the power amp, and then one note compresses and all that stuff. But I mean, here's one note is a millisecond. That's so you have to do the complete opposite, get rid of the super low end, and then have a focused mid-range, and then the EQing on the amp needs to be also kind of very effective. So this is the one that I can use to tailor the mids and the highs the best. And yeah, okay.
The sound needs to kick ass, but it's just the right spot.
Okay, good. Let's try to switch versus. I mean, that's the thing definitely for Iridium, I think. So can you play on the Marshall with the tube screamer? Okay, on, and then I switch to the Iridium and see where we are.
Okay. A bit more gain. Just a slight bit.
You want more gain?
Yeah, it's more like it.
Okay. Okay. I tried the same thing on the vintage channel.
Mm-hmm.
Since you increased the gain, I increased the gain too. This is the vintage channel. Different mids somehow. I like the Marshall mid some. There's something
Magical.
yeah, and that's a modified one, and so I'm proud of that kind of EQ in my Marshall here.
You modded it yourself?
No, actually, I gave it to a guy called Manfred Reckmeyer. And, every amp tuner has its own cooking recipe. And I'm too much a vintage freak. So for myself, back in the days, I was too much in my world. And I needed something different. So I gave my amp, which was modded by myself before, and had it unmodded differently in the different style from this amp modder. And this, this was Manny's work. Manny, another Manfred, Manny.
Good people are here.
Yeah, money. Okay, let me try the classic channel just for fun. Back to the Marshall first.
Okay.
To me, that sounds like a little bit more modern version of that amp.
Yeah.
But it's definitely fast.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's what I meant with just the right spot.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is the classic channel, and the tone is... Wait a minute. Where's the tone? The tone is 80%. So, you can maybe... 1 o'clock. This was a vintage tone.
Vintage tone?
It's the second one.
Mm-hmm.
I feel my amps.
Yeah, it's like 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock, okay, you can see it, so yeah. And the settings on the amp itself is 9 on the bass, mids is about 5, just under 5 touch, and the treble is on 6. No boost and a tube screamer, because both amps were used with the tube screamer now. And so when it comes to the faster sounds, I think the Iridium is designed to be a bit faster by nature.
Yeah, but I think you can
Get
in the same ballpark with the Mercury using a tube screamer or something.
Yeah, sure.
That's, basically, that's what they did too.
Yeah.
Didn't have exactly mainly clean and tight amps, so they had to come by that somehow.
Yeah, and therefore the tube screamer is the classic thing. Okay, we do have a lot more tones in a future episode, because when you sent me a list of all the tones, I thought, man, I have no clue about. I mean, we talked now, I still understand, because I mean these are mega bands, and they even appeared in my life somehow. What is on the list for the future for our next episode?
It's a bit more underground stuff.
Okay,
stuff
because
like Entombed.
Okay. And who else?
Who else? I think we had Pantera on the list.
Pantera. And there was. Do I have
Do you want to go for Metallica's Black Album sound or something?
Yeah, okay. So what I'm trying to say is we have a bunch more tones that we would like to check out, and we need to get some reference amps for that as well. Some of the amps I don't simply have. I mean, I can use some of my collection.
Some of them are rather not that easy to get by.
If there's some guy local with a Mesa Boogie, what, Mark 4?
Mark.
I know, 2
Mark II
C++.
But the thing is pretty rare.
Yeah.
So
if there's somebody local, please let us know. We're desperately looking for this as a reference. Any other amps we need?
We need the Randall Century, something.
Yeah. This is a tough gig too. Where to get a rental? So anybody in the Saarland has a rental, please let us know. We pick it up and make your amp famous. Okie doke. I have a few questions here. I can see on the screen. Osmium Studios. Hey, these guys are always on the live streams. I think they are from Sweden or Denmark, some Nordic country. Anyway, Thomas, what is your favorite metal amp apart from the Iridium? My personal favorite metal amp is the Ref.
The Ref.
Are you familiar with this?
I know the amp, but I didn't come out to play it.
Ah, okay.
It's just they don't tend to pop up.
Yeah, they're hard to find, and I would say what I like about the Ref is it has everything people explain to me as being metal important, and I like it because it has a certain organic feel to it. So I can relate to that sound myself without being a metal guy, and I'm so happy to see that kind of organic tone kind of being used successfully in metal, and it has that kind of frequency set that I actually like. I like to bathe in, there's bathing in the right frequencies for my ear. That's what my favorite personal metal amp is, and I was inspired with that amp on the Vintage channel. So that's
the Generator 120 is kind of the hallmark for modern metal sound. I would say it's maybe something like the 5150 was back in the 90s.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong about a 5150. It's just a different tone, and the Generator 120, the purple channel, is something. Yeah, every generation or every decade there is a new style in tone and music, and that's my favorite. Okay, we have more questions. Ulf Folz. Hi Thomas, I'm aware that the Iridium Edition is intended to suit the metal player. Still, I'd like to know what the lower gain crunchy sounds of the Iridium are like and how they differ to Mercury. Well, that's a simple one for me. Let me plug in a classic guitar and get rid of the tube screamer and so this is like we played the okay, sorry, I'm inspired by you.
It's not that influenced.
Yeah, okay, I love it. What was the question again? So still, I'd like to know what the lower gain crunchy sounds of the Iridium are like and how they differ to Mercury. Okay, what the lower gain settings are like. So I just lower the gain on the guitar and you see it kind of cleans up. The first thing I would do is I would probably start with the Vintage channel. The next thing I would reduce a little bit of treble, and here we go. That's already me in my. Metal gate off to add a little bit reverb. So now I try to switch to the Mercury with the Vintage channel. Something must be wrong. Wait a minute.
Classic.
is Iridium. And this is Mercury. Maybe I give it a little bit more bass. I'm too low. Iridium. Mercury. A bit too much reverb. So, if I try to sell you a Mercury, like, okay, I try to make the Mercury better, I would say the Mercury is woodier and creamier. This is like the vintage factor that I love.
It's more on the loose.
Yeah.
More full.
Yeah. So, and when I go for the Iridium, it has a slightly sharper attack and it's faster. And this is what we are talking about earlier, is when it's slow, it's bluesier. Okay? So the benefit of slow is here and the benefit of fast is here. But as you can see, you can also have a nice tone with the Iridium, you know, also adjust your playing a little bit and all good. Okay, next question here. Hello, last episode you and Alex Bayreuth used the parallel effects loop on the AMP1. Are you using the serial or parallel loop on your main board? Could you please explain when to use which? I use it in parallel mode because in parallel mode the dry signal from the guitar goes straight from input to output and the effects are just mixed on top of that. And I'm using my little, oops, it's still there, from last episode. And this was the power, yeah, who cares? This is the Boss delay. And when this is, it's analog mixed dry signal, so I can use that in the loop in parallel. Some digital delays make the mix of dry and wet internally on the digital domain. That has a latency, and the latency causes a phase cancellation. And that sounds shit. And when you experience a thin or a sound that is not healthy, which is kind of phased out, scooped out, when you turn on your effect in the effects loop, put it on serial, because then the signal will be 100% through the effects unit and there is no phase issues anymore. It might lack a little bit of dynamic. Me, the esoteric, I want it all guy, love in-phase signals from analog mixed pedals on parallel, but if it's not possible, of course, I go for the serial. And if you need 100% effect, like if you have an EQ or you have a compressor, it needs to be also in serial. So the whole signal needs to be compressed or EQ'd or processed. Okay, next question. Awesome student, Thomas, have you ever tried the HM2 and are you aware of the Swedish death metal tones? Sure. Where's my HM2? I have one. I think I have one. Next room. Next episode. We do the Swedish death metal tone. Okay. HM2 or Metal Zone. One of those I have. Boss. Okay, Sven Becker. Last question for today. Looking for upgrading my Les Paul with ABR. Any thoughts on ABR versus Nashville and importance of the corresponding studs? I think these are the studs. Let's put it that way. I tried to improve this guitar and I found that the old school vintage parts, for me, the vintage guy, the vintage nerd, should be authentic, which is, this thing needs to be some kind of, I don't know what it is, aluminium kind of thing, not too heavy. And the most important thing is actually the bridge. I changed 3-4 different bridges on that guitar. And this is an old 60s, don't know the year, but this is the real deal old bridge. And when I put that on, the complex noise, what came out of the guitar, sounded like I wanted it. Because that's the frequencies, that's the noise from the old vintage guitars. And therefore, sorry guys, I went all the way and paid whatever 350 euros or dollars or whatever, way too much money for that bridge. But this was the key. I was shocked because this little one piece here makes all the fucking difference if I want to go all the way. On the other hand, there are so many great component manufacturers today, and I always look at the thing like, look at your guitar and the weak point. So maybe your guitar needs a little uplift in the whatever, upper mids or whatever, and then choose the right part for that. And it is always a cooking recipe of the ingredients that are set, like this is the guitar and that's the wood, don't change your body unless it's totally crap. And then when you change any like hardware part or pickups, try to compensate just a few percent to that, towards that direction.
I always found that's the hard part, really getting to understand what part
Is influence
does which.
Yeah.
Because if I know you can go miles with different pickups.
Yeah.
But if you know it's kind of blinde Kuh, you know.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you're looking for,
Yeah.
you can spend
Money
on,
yeah.
and then
hours.
never arrive because you don't know what you're looking for.
Yeah. So my experience here, of course, is try to experiment yourself and get a feel for it. But if it costs too much money, do it with cheap projects. I call this cheap projects. So I always have a cheap Strat project going on. You know, some cheapo whatever leftover bodies, and I try out different pickups in this guitar. I try out different hardware. I try anything I want to try out. I try out on that guitar just to see what the changes are, and you know where to look at and which part makes what difference. And on the other hand, then you can transfer that knowledge to your precious guitar. And of course, if you have the right kind of friends that know stuff, ask them, and there's forums and there's stuff. But sometimes it's weird when you go on forums, people rave about stuff and it makes a lot of sense for them. But when I read it, it's like, yeah, man, I know what you mean, but my life is different. So you have to develop your own way of filtering all this information. Yeah. Okay, hard.
Can I crash in with one last question?
Absolutely.
Absolutely non-metal related.
Okay.
But I know there's at least one viewer who wants to know if you would want to go with a Mercury edition and go for a David Gilmour type tone.
Yeah.
How would you go about it?
David Gilmour. I mean, which tone you're talking about?
I'm talking about Shine On You Crazy Diamond.
You're talking about the clean,
Like a kind of clean-ish.
Yeah. Okay. That's the David Gilmour tone. Of course, you need a Stratocaster guitar, like this little cello. So you would go, and now comes the big thing. We need a compressor, which is now not here. Anyway, I do it without the compressor, but I show you. We go for. So I have the vintage channel here. Okay, so what I'm using here is the vintage channel, and I was using less gain from the guitar, but I could also use it with less gain from the amp, and you are already kind of there.
there.
Yeah. so I mean, this guitar, you can tell it has already this kind of
It's
tone.
at least 70% of the sound, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah, and it needs to be clean and slightly compressed. David Gilmour was using a compressor. Now we have one, but this compressor, David Gilmour is compressor king. He even sometimes chained 2 compressors. You know, he's the master of compressor because he plays so slow and tasteful, and then the compressor kind of boosts the notes without overdrive, without the ugliness of metal, no, with all the beauty, and then he can form the notes with tons of sustain, and that's so a compressor with a clean channel or a compressed, slightly overdriven sound, like here from the Mercury, will do the job. Okay, now we were totally somewhere else, which is also fine because...
yeah, I'm a bit on a Gilmour trip for some months now.
Really?
Yeah, it's actually, I don't know how to do it, but I think I'm gonna get a Strat because
We can talk about Strats, no problem. Okay, hey, so it's a big pleasure to have Manni Zewe again here.
Thanks for having me.
We will have a follow-up, and we will have a follow-up on NAMM next week with my special guest Jude Gold and Rich again. And yeah, stay home, stay safe, or do whatever you like to do, but stay safe. And I hope life will be normal within this year, and AMP1 will be normal and kicking and alive this year. Okay guys, see you all, take care, cheers, bye bye.